Set out for Reno, I was trailed by 20 hounds. Didn't get to sleep that night till the morning come around. Tired out running, but I take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine. I get home before daylight, I just might get some sleep tonight. Hey, aloha. Welcome to the Big Island Green Garden Guy Garden and Lava Report for June 5th, 2018. Yeah, she's been exciting as usual. All sort of stuff going on, and around here, the only thing stays the same is change. So, starting off with the garden report. Right here, I got a basket full of purple sweet potatoes. Now, purple sweet potatoes, for me, I don't believe I ever tried one until I came over here eating, and the Okinawan Purple in the marketplace is a common potato here. This guy right here, who's not too shabby looking, they got a white skin on the outside and a purple flesh on the inside. Sometimes the purple flesh is partially white. So in this case, this guy right here is more white than some internally. Oftentimes they get real purple. It varies a bit, but this type is the one that came here on the islands from Okinawa. It's typically referred to as the Okinawan Purple. Very common in dishes around here. It's oftentimes used like mashed potatoes, where they will cook onions in a pan, fry them, and then take these steamed, mash them together, a little milk or some other liquid added to it, coconut milk, something to get it to flow. They're starchy. This is really very much more like a common potato, the Solanaceae potato. These are Ipomea, they're morning glory. The regular potato is in the tomato family. It's an easy grow around here. Usually they're not as big as this one. This one is a pretty good size one. Like I say, this one's best any dish where you would like a starchier potato. I commonly use it in sweet potato salad. My recipe for sweet potato salad is chopped chives, chopped celery, sometimes chopped parsley if I have it around, a little bit of chopped fresh turmeric, and then I will take a bit of natural sugar in a dish with sushi vinegar, put that into the microwave enough so I can dissolve the sugar into the vinegar. To that I will then add sesame oil, I'll add tahini, and if I have to warm it again just a bit to get the tahini to dissolve, stir it together till I get a smooth paste, then I add mayonnaise to it. Then I add that dressing to the chives, the celery, the turmeric, chunks of this sweet potato that have been steamed in there, and oftentimes I'll add grated carrot too. Very, very delicious. You can use ginger in there if you want to too. So that's a real good dish, and it's my favorite with this potato. Now right here, this baby is the ugly duckling of the purple yams. I mean, it's just disgusting looking exterior on this. The vines are pretty. This one is not Ipomea. It's not in the morning glory family. This comes from the Philippines, mostly is where it's popular. It's referred to as UBE, pronounced either ubi or ube, depending on who you talk to. But very popular in Filipino confections. This is used in ice cream. It's used in sweet rolls, breads. You often find it as a jam. They make this stuff into a jam, and then that jam is used in all sorts of different recipes. Unlike the pomeas, Dioscora does not have the sugar. This is very starchy. It doesn't have a lot of pronounced taste. It has a flavor. The flavor is good. There's nothing bad about its eating qualities, but it is really low in sugar. This morning I used it in pancakes. Here you can take a look. There's a little bit of shot of those pancakes.
Ubi pancakes. Pancakes made with the tropical purple yam, very popular in the Philippines. The yam was steamed yesterday, peeled, grated, and then mixed with pancake batter this morning. It was pretty yummy.
The same batter could be used also to make donuts, malasadas. There's all sorts of things you can do with this. This one has an absolutely gross looking exterior. Inside, it is really purple. This is really, really a purple color. It will dye everything. When you're using it, the first thing you really need to do is I just take it, put it into a pan and steam it. After it's become somewhat tender, then I'll remove it, cool it, peel the jacket away. It's got the ugliest skin on earth. From the outside, I wouldn't think you'd want to eat this thing. But from the inside, it's obviously very appealing and attractive. Coming down to these purple colorations, they often contain antioxidant qualities and other healthful benefits that come with these pigments in food. And so this is probably pretty good for you, although I have really no nutritional data. I haven't bothered to look it up. Then, right here, I got another one. My neighbor Laura was digging sweet potatoes the other day on her side of the fence to give to people down there by Pahoa who are suffering. This guy has kind of a violet, purpley, pinky looking skin on it. It's much more attractive than the ube. It is not the Okinawan potato, and so this is a different thing. But this one is also really purple on the inside, a very purple spud. I made sweet potato salad out of this the other day, and it was quite delicious. This one being a true sweet potato in the Morning Glory family, it does have quite a bit of sugar. When it's cooked, this is not a starchy type. This one is more like the mainland sweet potatoes that we know that tend to be more watery and more sugary than the Okinawans, and definitely a lot more sugary than the ube. It's a good one. I did not have it here. I've taken pieces of it and propagated it. I don't know what it's called. It was in her property when she bought it, growing wild over there. It resembles some of the Japanese purple forms, and that may be where it originated. But just one more of the purple sweet potatoes. I grew up on yellow and orange ones, and so purple's been a new part of my diet. I had Melissa come by this morning and pick more mint for the barkeeps down in Hilo who need their mojitos. Also picked a bunch of limes. I sell this stuff to her wholesale, and then she moves it off to town and sells it to the restaurateurs. Works out really well for both of us. So if anybody ever thought of mint as being a weed, which it can be easily in your garden, consider the value to a bartender who needs it for making a quality mojito. Also, the mint, anybody who's doing Middle Eastern or Greek food, you need that mint. Got to have that stuff. And so, you know, if you're making tabbouleh, for instance, and so if you know restaurateurs that do Middle Eastern cuisine, got to have that mint. So, odd thing, you know, the limes grow so easy here in Puna that it's amazing that we can even sell the things, but there's quite a demand at the bars. When we get them into the taverns, they juice so beautifully and produce huge quantities of lime juice that the barkeeps love the local limes. On to the lava report. I think I heard this morning that it was about 5,000 acres covered in lava so far. It's continuing and flowing like crazy. The stuff is very fluid, very fast moving, building up lava lakes with dikes around the edge, then breaking loose and running outward. Apparently the lava flow is turning north now from Four Corners and heading towards Wawa, which is a very wild area. There's people live in there, but mostly unpermitted and so on. But a couple days ago, Green Lake, which was a lake formed by a pu'u here, right out the coast near Kapoho. Green Lake, been there for about 400 years. Nobody really knew how deep it was. They figure it was a couple of 100 feet. The lava entered Green Lake and it boiled it away. It doesn't exist anymore. And now the same lava is surrounding the Pu'u. Pu'u, P-U accent, or Okina U, Hawaiian word for these smaller volcanoes that form. It's getting surrounded. As again, I say the Pu'u goes back a long time. This is probably a 400-year-old thing, so it's been there for ages. It was well known locally, and many years ago, the people that owned the property used to allow locals in there, but some years back, they decided they were going to gate it off, and so we had all been excluded from their private property over there. Pele pretty much took care of that one. And then we have Kapoho Bay and the whole Kapoho vacation land and such as housing developments that were right on what was probably the most swimmable and snorkelable location on the entire eastern coast of Hawaii. There's not a lot of swimming country here because we don't have many beaches on the east side. It's mostly lava shore break, and the current and the waves here can be treacherous. And Kapoho Bay was relatively sheltered, and so they had built all these houses all around it. But then again, it was one of these things where I believe it was probably just about the only gated community in eastern Hawaii. Pele certainly had no respect for the gate and went directly right through the gate. I think about half of the houses in there are probably gone by this morning. Then ran into Kapoho Bay, and currently Kapoho Bay is at least half filled with lava. So what was one of the better swimming holes looks like it's going to be shore instead soon. It's filling. The champagne ponds were in there, and well, they're gone. That filled in too. That's all lava now. I heard some figures about how far the lava shelf had reached into Kapoho Bay. It's significant, thousands of feet into the bay by now. To me, the most personal disaster since Waipa'i Tide Pools, a marine preserve, which is one of my favorite places on the eastern shore. Beautiful area, and it was accessible to the public, and I'm worried how long it's going to last now. That's kind of a shame. The only thing that stays the same around here is change. There was some earthquakes, I believe a 5.5 or so up on the summit of Kilauea yesterday evening. I did not feel it, although there was one really quick jolt at about 6:47 a.m. this morning. Made my whole house ring just once. It went bang. I thought something fell, but realized that no, it was just the earth. Sudden shock. These have been kind of common out of the caldera up here because it keeps trying to eject rocks and ash that have filled the caldera. It's unrecognizable anymore, and as it produces these explosions that throw the stuff out, we get these real quick shockwave earthquakes that are really more related to the explosive steam and rock coming out than actually the earth trembling. It's like blowing off a shotgun. You get a concussion. That's kind of what's happening there. I had a question from a viewer this morning about whether Lava Trees still stands, the county park right down there at the bend of 132 and Pohoiki Road. It's pretty close. It's going to depend. My buddy Greg's farm was next door to Lava Trees, one driveway away from there. His is gone, and I believe the property next door to him, closer to the park, is probably also gone by now. I'm uncertain, but it looks like the park still remains, and it will be possible, if the flow stops going that way, that we may still be able to gain access coming from Pahoa. But anything past that, going out to the coast, is closed off, inundated by lava, full of gases and so on. The lady that came from Mint this morning in Limes, they're again only about 3 miles down the slope here from me, closer to the event, and they are cleaning Pele's hair off of everything around their house. And so we're apparently right at the border of how far all that junk is carrying from the fissures. It doesn't get in here. I haven't seen a bit of ash or any hair or anything, but they were in the gutters cleaning up this morning because they're running out of water. They catch water from their roof, unlike we have county here, but they use standard catchment that most Hawaiians use in this region, and they can't use their water because the roof was covered in ash and covered in Pele's hair. They've had to clean everything off so that they can allow some rain to hopefully get into their catchment tanks for the house. And it was a surprise to me to find out that they were getting Pele's hair that far away, because the Pele's hair only happens in this event when the lava pours directly into the ocean. Pretty much is where it's mostly coming from right now. And they're good, probably 16, 17 miles away by the crow from where it's at, and generally the wind tends to be carrying this stuff kind of away from them, but they must be getting brushed by it because the particles of glass hair, looks like blonde hair. And as far as the national park is concerned, it's still closed. It's very sad, but nothing we can do about it. Not sure, nobody knows how long it will be closed or what it's going to look like by the time this is over. We may not be able to visit the rim of Kilauea for an extended period of time until it decides what it's doing over there. It's in debate as far as whether Kilauea is still going to be an active caldera with lava or whether it's just going to fill up with rocks and water and periodically blow up and be dangerous to anybody nearby. I guess there's been lots of damage to the roads. They're cracked in the park. There's rocks and broken all kinds of things over there. I imagine eventually they'll probably open up at least part of the park again, hopefully the eastern side of the park. But, you know, as you get to the south and the west edge of the park right now, there's terrible bog and junk in there too, so park just isn't what it used to be for now. Puna will be rather dramatically changed in a few areas after this is over. There's just no doubt about it. Currently, I think most of the county parks that existed along the lower Puna coast, they still exist, like Ahalohani, the hot ponds, appears to have been spared at the moment. Waiapai Tide Pools, the marine preserve, is still there. And Isaac Hale, these parks appear to be still in existence, but inaccessible. It's really turned into a real hell down there. Consequently, my morning tune. Friend of the devil. Because, boy, I tell you, you're going to have to be friendly with that guy if you're going to be walking around down the lower Puna today. Aloha. You all have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching the Garden and Lava Report for June 5th. See you later.